Hi, my name's Steve Maher. I'm a physical therapist and founder of Sight Solutions. And recently I've become fascinated with esports and gaming. I think it's just really interesting from a physical therapy standpoint. What are the demands on the gamers' bodies? How do they break down? And what can we do to help people play longer and more efficiently and more comfortably, right? So I'm not a big gamer myself. People have commented in my older videos that, you're obviously not a gamer. What do you know? So what I did is I've looked up pictures of people playing professional esports. And what I'd like to do is just comment briefly on their postures that I see, and then give you some exercises that you could do that could help relieve some of the stresses that I see. So hopefully it'll help you play better. So the typical posture that I'm seeing when I look at these videos, and I will post these pictures, I'll work on my editing skills and see if I can post these pictures. But a real typical posture is something like this, where the person is kind of slumped a little bit in the chair. Typically the keyboard and the mouse that they're working with are up on the desk up here, right? And so they're kind of leaning, they're kind of getting into it, and they're kind of in a rounded position like this. A lot of times it's a laptop, sometimes it's a flat screen that's a little bit higher, but typically their head is a little bit forward or down, okay? So they're kind of in this rounded position like this. From a physical therapy standpoint, what that's doing is it's putting a lot of stress on their low back because they're bending forward, a lot of stress on their shoulders because they're reaching a little bit, and so they're bringing their shoulders forward. That puts stress on their shoulders, but also their neck. And the way that they compensate for that is they will tend to lean on the edge of the desk just a little more, and that can be a problem because it can cut off circulation to the nerves that run into the hand, which is actually going to slow you down, right? If you start cutting off circulation to the nerves that control the muscles of your hand, you're not going to be able to move as fast. And lastly, when you come forward like that, it puts your neck into kind of an extended position, and that can get tiring as well. So what I'd like to do is just show you some simple exercises that you could do between games while you're waiting for something to load that can really help decrease some of that stress. So the first one is for your low back, right? So if you're in this rounded position, what happens is your pelvis rolls backwards, your lumbar spine comes forward, and your lumbar spine is made up of vertebrae, which are big blocks like this, and then you have a little disc in between, which is a pad, and it's a fluid-filled pad, and when you bend forward, you tend to push that fluid back, and that can then cause stress on the outer rings of the disc. So what we want to do is reverse that movement. And what you can do is just scoot forward in the chair, put your hands on your hips like this, and just roll your pelvis, right? So you're just going to take your belt, kind of push it forward, like this. So you're just reversing that curve in your lumbar spine. You can sit there for a second or two and come away from it, but just doing that movement will get those vertebrae moving. It tends to loosen up the joints, it hydrates the discs, and it's going to just take a lot of stress off of your low back. The other thing that it's going to do when you do that, it will lift your chest, and that will tend to help you breathe better. I just saw an article about gamers and lung collapse, which I thought was really interesting. Why would that happen? Well, if you're in this position for a long period of time, potentially you're collapsing your lungs, but you're certainly not expanding them. You're not getting as much oxygen in, so you're not going to be breathing as well. So this is a really good exercise for that too, if you lift your chest while you do it. So it's going to take stress off your low back, but it's also going to open up your chest and allow you to breathe a little bit. Okay, the next thing is your shoulders. Since you're in this position for hours and hours, right? Your shoulders are coming forward. You're tightening your pec muscles here and overstretching the muscles of your back. So what you're going to do to relieve that is just sit up nice and tall, roll your shoulders around backwards. So you could have your controller in your hand, right? And still be doing this exercise. And again, it's going to help you breathe a little bit, stretch out your pec muscles, tighten the muscles in the back. If you want to take your hands off the controllers, another really good one is just to reach back like that, right? Just come back like that. And what that's going to do, it's going to extend your thoracic spine, it's going to help you breathe, but it's going to stretch out the muscles of your chest. It's also going to tend to externally rotate your shoulders, and that's going to loosen up the rotator cuff and the muscles that make these movements that get really tight from being here. So it's just going to open you up, okay? And then for your neck, Again, the shoulder rolls are really beneficial too, but what you can do is just head rolls, right? So you can just drop your head and kind of roll it around like this, which is a good one, because that's going to loosen up all the muscles of your neck. You can also just do a trapezius stretch where you grab the underside of your chair to anchor your shoulder, drop your head away, and then maybe drop it forward or back, and just kind of, you can just roll it a little bit too. And that can help to loosen up all of these muscles up here in your neck. For your hands, some simple things that you can do, because your hands are pretty much in a set position, right? You're grabbing the mouse and you're hitting keys, so your hands are kind of always in this my cousin Vinny kind of claw grip, if you will. So you're here, so a really easy exercise that you can do, I call it the Mr. Burns. So if you ever watch The Simpsons, Mr. Burns is always going, excellent, right? And so you just put your fingertips together, push your palms together like that, and what that's going to do is stretch out all of the small muscles, the lumbricals, the interossei, the small muscles within your hands that get so tight from holding the mouse and using the keyboard. So you just do this about 15 to 30 seconds, come away from it, okay? And that is a really, it actually would be a really good set. You could sit up, you know, do 10 of these, 10 of these, 10 neck rolls, 10 of these, and then go right back to your game. So the whole thing could take maybe 30 seconds or so, and you could be a lot more refreshed and ready to go and play your game. So I'd love to get some feedback on that. I hope that helps you out. If it does, let me know. If there's more specific issues you have, a lot of people have been writing, asking me about what chairs to get, what's the best mouse, how they should position things. So if you have any questions about gaming and how physically we could make you better, or ergonomically how you could be set up to be more efficient, please let me know, and I'd love to help you out. Thank you very much.